Lyft, Disrupting and Disintermediating Urban Transportation Channels by Sarah Bennett.
And Jasmine Thomas.
Throughout the presentation, we'll be going over the mission, how it affects the community, adding value, the vertical marketing system, and safety and alternatives.
Lyft's mission. Lyft's goal. Lyft partners with many local government, transit agencies, and nonprofit organizations throughout North America to grant access to transportation and change the future where communities are built around people and not just cars. They want to enhance the availability of existing transportation and offer better mobility options. Supporting public transit systems. They work with the public transit system to try and get them to the bus stations by offering first and last mile rides to get them to the stations. They also offer after-hour rides when trains and buses have stopped running and have additional options for communities with less people. All types of riders and rides. Lyft works with the train and bus stations to get their schedules worked into their app, but they also show schedules for their bikes, scooters, and rideshare services. Rides that make a difference. Lyft has been working on making options for people to get to and from work, get their groceries, and allow the elderly to get transportation that they can't offer themselves. Over on the right side of the slide is a picture of one of their bikes that they have to offer as a transportation option. We all know how companies can be. Even when they make promises, they do not always hold up their end of the deal. Lyft is another one of those companies. Heavy rail and bus ridership. Although Lyft promised to work with the public transportation systems, they have fallen short on that promise. For example, in San Francisco, the bus ridership has reduced about 1.7% annually. For a city that size, that is a lot of people who are not taking the bus like they used to. Congestion. Even with Lyft's promise to target nighttime driving needs for when the bus and train stations are closed, they have been increasing their numbers and trips during the daytime, causing an increase in traffic and backup. In cities like Seattle, they are giving around 90,000 rides a day, which is way more than the city's train systems. Deadheading. Deadheading is when the Lyft drivers are driving around with no passengers, causing more pollution and congestion in traffic. One of the policies that Lyft has is to have the drivers circle constantly to lower wait times for passengers. But by doing this, it has increased their deadheading anywhere from 30 to 60%. Walking-friendly communities. Lyft says they encourage different transportation options for their customers, but research has shown differently. Lyft has been causing an increase in the percentage of driving by 3%, adding 5.7 billion driving miles between the 9 major cities they operate in.
Adding value. In making products and services available to consumers, the channel members must add value through major time, place, and possession gaps that separate them from other services and goods that are available. Tips that can be used to complete a transaction and gain additional interest from consumers is information, which is the gathering and distribution of intel about forces that are in the marketing environment that are needed for planning an exchange. Promotion, which is the development and spreading of communication about an offer that was made. Contact, the action of finding and engaging consumers and future buyers into a prospective product. Matching, which is creating an offer that will meet the buyer's needs. This could be manufacturing, grading, assembling, and packaging of a good or a service. Negotiation. This is the reaching of an agreement on price and other variables that affect ownership and how the good or service will be transferred. Physical distribution. This is the transporting and storing of the goods and services for the customer. Financing is the building and using of funds that affect the channel work and how things get done. Finally, risk-taking is the knowledge of knowing the risk of what it takes to obtain or complete a task or receive a good or service.
Lyft's pollution. Lyft's promise was to reduce the amount of cars owned to reduce the pollution we have spewing into our air. But in reality, Lyft has increased the amount of cars owned. With the increase in cars and traffic, the pollution rates have been on a rise, putting our climate and public health at risk. Lyft's contradictions to their goals. Over time, Lyft has left their goals farther and farther in the dust. As of April 2019, they made a campaign to ditch public transportation altogether. They are also looking into having helicopters for the wealthy. Not only does this emit more pollution, but it is also going to cause the company to focus on the wealthy, leaving those who actually need the services behind to fend for themselves. Suggestions from community members. The community is starting to notice all these negative impacts, and they are fed up with it. They want to see Lyft make a goal to make their cars 100% electric vehicles to help prevent any more pollution. They want the company to go back to their main goals and support the public transportation systems instead of trying to make their customers away. Off to the right of the slide, you will find a picture of a campaign for Lyft encouraging its customers to ditch the public transportation and use their services instead.
Vertical marketing system of an organization. There are two types of channel arrangements, which are vertical marketing system and conventional distribution channel. The vertical marketing system consists of wholesalers, producers, and retailers that unify together as a whole system. They all cooperate together to ensure that everything gets done. Then there is conventional distribution channel, which is made up of one or more independent producers, wholesalers, and retailers. Each of these sectors are a separate business that in the end look to maximize their profits, even if it hurts another person or company. There are also three major types of VMS. The first is corporate VMS, which integrates stages of production and distribution under one ownership, and the leadership is also established through the one ownership. Second is contractual VMS, which is a vertical marketing system which has independent firms of production and distribution, but they are also joined together through contracts that are created. The last is administered VMS, which is a vertical marketing system that coordinates successive stages of production through one party, no matter the size or power. Most of these are top brand manufacturers that trade cooperation and support from their resellers.
Traffic safety. With the increased amount of cars that have been put on the road because of the Lyft service, there have been more accidents. These accidents are often caused because of the surplus of traffic and impatience of the other drivers. Background of drivers. When it comes to Lyft drivers, they have less regulations and requirements of the drivers. Their drivers are also not professionally trained like cab and bus drivers, putting their customers at higher risk. Lyft also has a history of letting background checks skipping over the criminal records, putting the riders at risk of assault of all kinds. Without the proper background checks, it is leaving the drivers to have unknown mental and physical health issues. Health of drivers. Lyft drivers often use Lyft as a way to make additional money for their families, meaning they have other full-time jobs. This also means there's little time for sleep and putting the customers and others on the road at risk of injury due to falling asleep behind the wheel. Poor exercise and diets can lead to many diseases such as dehydration, hypertension, kidney disease, and so much more. Also, prolonged sitting can cause physical injuries to the muscle and skeletal systems.
Major alternatives. First is the type of intermediaries. This is where a firm must identify the types of channel members that are available to carry out the work that is needed to be done. The companies that are taking these actions also face channel member choices and who should stay and who should go. Second is the number of marketing intermediaries, which encompasses three different strategies. Intensive distribution is the strategy in which individuals stock their goods in as many outlets as there are available. Then there is exclusive distribution, which is where the producer is given a limited number of dealers and rights to distribute the product onto certain territories. These often involve luxury brands. The last strategy is selective distribution, which is the use of more than one, but fewer than all of the intermediaries that are willing to sell the company's products. Then it moves into the responsibilities of channel members. The producers and intermediaries must come to an agreement on the terms and responsibilities of each of the channel members. This includes price policies, condition of sale, territory rights, and specific services to be performed by each party.
Conclusion. Lyft, great ideas and mission goals. Lyft's mission was truly a grand gesture. The idea of helping the community and getting things running more smoothly for the busy cities was amazing and could have worked out for everyone. However, even though a company promises something, it doesn't always happen. Lyft falls short. Even with its great intentions, they started to only truly think of the company instead of the community. They stopped trying to help the local train and bus stations. They ended up creating more traffic congestion and pollution in the air. They also were not very safe with the way they picked their drivers and put their customers at risk. There's a lot of ways the company can improve to get back to their promises, and the community is ready to help get them there.
A company like Lyft must work to continuously add value to their products and services that they have available for their customers. This could happen through the negotiations that they make, to the way that they finance their company and employees. Lyft also must incorporate one of the 3 vertical marketing systems to make sure that their company is running smoothly and that there is a clear goal in what they are working towards. Lastly, is that they must agree on the responsibilities of the employees and the terms that the company runs under. This can vary from price policies, condition of sale, territory rights, and specific services that each party needs to complete. When all of these factors are completed and services and goods are being sold, then that signifies that the company is doing something right and satisfying their customers.